Welcome everyone to another episode of Starmade. Today we're gonna have a look at the most recent update and I want to explore all of the new features and changes they applied to the game. The most noteworthy addition to Starmade is probably the new weapon system, which will change how ship weapons have to be designed in Starmade and how the game is balanced. However, it's worth to note that Schema thought of the people that will be unhappy about such changes and gave us access to all of the necessary settings in case you want to create your very own balance in the game. Currently, they are constantly testing and adjusting vanilla game balance, so be wary that these changes will still be improved upon. If you make your balance changes on a server, the config will be automatically downloaded to the clients of the members, thus allowing for a fully customized server very easily. Now let's have a look at the two new weapons that have been implemented. First up, the Damage Pulse, which does an AoE effect to all blocks in range, exactly the type of weapon I like. And secondly, the Damage Beam, which is the opposite of the Repair Beam, obviously damaging blocks in the way of the beam. Now let's get to the interesting part of these changes, the combination system. This system extends the previous system by a lot of possibilities. You can now connect any main weapon systems together. The main systems are the cannon weapons computer, the D-1000 missiles, the Damage Pulse and the Damage Beam. Now looking at the table provided in the patch notes, you can see that by combining different systems, you can create very specific effects, such as more range, more radius, faster reload, less power cost, but also have to consider the debuffs, such as less damage or less reload speed. These effects are fully customizable by the amount of blocks you connect to the systems, thus making the one or other effect stronger by having more of the related shooting blocks in the design. Now not only can you combine the individual systems, but you can also apply various effects to them, which will change what happens on impact as an offensive bonus. These effects can be connected to your main systems, or they can be used by themselves to get a defensive bonus instead. Now there are at the moment 8 effects to choose from, but more will come in the future, so let's have a look at them. First up, the EMP effect will, when combined with the main system, instead of doing block damage, do damage to the power of the enemy ship, but while it's used alone it will protect you against such power damage. Next up, the explosive effect will obviously add explosions to your systems and add an extra radius to missiles and pulses. Used as a defensive tool on its own, it will protect you against unnatural gravity effects like a push, pull or stop. The iron effect will do more damage to shields at the cost of less damage to blocks, and while used on its own, it will harden your shields with a percentage of damage reduction. The piercing effect, while combined with the system, will make you able to damage blocks behind the point of impact, but also at the cost of focused block and shield damage. On the other hand, while used alone, it will protect you against such piercing and punch through attacks. Next up, the push effect adds a physical push to your weapons in exchange for less damage overall. Used on its own, it will give your ship a burst forwards, which might come in handy in battle. The pull effect on the other hand will do the exact opposite, thus pulling targets towards you, also at the cost of less damage. Same applies to its defensive bonus, by giving you a burst backwards. Finally, the stop effect will convert damage into a braking effect in order to hold your enemies in place. But even more impressive is its defensive bonus, which will nullify effects of natural gravity on your ships, such as those from planets. But there's more, we can now also color our weapon systems. Simply link any light emitting block to the primary computer and its projectiles will now also be in that color. Isn't that awesome? We also now have a new weapons panel and GUI changes right there. This was necessary in order to make dealing with the effects and the systems in a more convenient way. Just drag and drop your preferred weapons together without having to manually connect the parts. Finally, you can now also drag and drop the weapons directly onto your hotbar rather than assigning them with a number. Personally, the change that I was looking forward the most, but maybe that's just me, disabling filters in the navigation menu will now finally also get rid of the markers on the screen. Heck, Yeah. Also in the GUI section, you can now actually activate any blocks in build mode as well, which makes a lot of the hassle when building and interacting with accessible blocks go away. Now, we're not done yet, no, there is a logic system in the game now, which is also something I've just been waiting for a long time. Blinking lights, automatic hangar doors, automatic gravity, weapons, traps, and much more. The redstone nightmare can finally begin. Anyways, there's 6 new blocks available. First up, the activation block, which will send a signal to whatever it is connected to. It is basically a lever, so for example, if you connect it to a door, it will open remotely by activating this module. Note that you have to connect it to each block individually, as more than one block type can be connected to this lever block. Next up, the NOT block, which hopefully every redstoner will immediately know what it does. This block will invert signals. Oh guys, I don't know about you, but if you've been with me for a while, you know I'm really excited about these features. The AND block, of course, will be able to take multiple signals, and only if all of them are active or true, it will send out a signal. Next, the OR block will also take multiple signals, but will send out a signal no matter which initial signal is active. It will not send out a signal only if all of the initial signals are shut off. The delay block, as many of us know as the repeater in Minecraft, will take a signal, wait for half a second and then send it out again. I hope in the future they will adjust it so that you can make shorter delays as well. If you want to make longer delays though, you can always add them in a chain together to add the final delay. Lastly, we have another delay block, but a non-repeating block, which essentially means that after once a signal has been sent through, the contraption will stop. This is particularly useful in case you have set up your signals in a loop. So we not only have a lever, meaning the activation block, but we also have the necessary blocks in order to create insane logic gates in the future. Hurrah! Lastly, we also have a few aesthetic improvements. As you can see looking around the universe, the planets will now have a new shape, namely the dodecahedron shape. Yeah. But note that existing planets in old universes will not be replaced, only undiscovered ones. But look at this, man, I never thought they would go for this perfect compromise between round planet shapes but still maintaining the logic of a block-based game. But that's not all about the planets. They do have a core now, which heals rather quickly but still can be destroyed. Once a planet core is destroyed, the planet and everything with it will blow up, leaving planet segments flying off into deep space. Note that if you make your planet into a home base, all planet segments as well as the core will be protected. You can now also name your planets with a faction module, which quite frankly is awesome. There have also been a bunch of new decorative blocks implemented for our creativity to use. Last but not least, finally a bunch of new default ships have been added, which will make your daily pirate raids a lot more interesting. Now in the future we can look forward to a lot of awesome things. Updates will be coming more regularly now with less stuff in one build. We'll soon be able to enjoy warp drives and gates, and of course the new creature system that I've already mentioned in the previous update video. Well guys, tons of new stuff to intake in this update. If for any reason this update screwed your ships completely over, don't forget that you can adjust pretty much anything in the configs to your liking. But anyways guys, this has been it for today's update video on Starmade. Don't forget to support the YouTubers you like, have a great time, and hopefully see ya in the next one. Bye bye.